Hello and welcome to this exclusive CXNet interview series. In today's exclusive interview, we are joined by a thought leader whose work has been instrumental in transforming customer journeys at a global scale. Today, we have with us Tushar Joshi, Director, Customer Satisfaction and Quality Transformations at Schneider Electric. With nearly 2 decades of experience, Tushar has consistently championed customer centric transformations, blending technology, empathy, and strategic execution. His leadership has helped embed digitization into CX frameworks, foster operational excellence, and shape long term customer value. Tushar, it's a real pleasure to have you today here at CXNet.
Thank you, Nidhi. Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here as well and glad to share my thoughts on these important topics that you're going to cover today.
Thank you. So let's begin by looking at the bigger picture, Tushar. Over the past decade, the customer experience function has evolved rapidly, and so has the role of the CX leader. So,
Mhm.
how do you see the CX leader's responsibilities changing, and how can leaders effectively balance empathy, technology, and measurable business impact while shaping customer journeys?
All right. So, if we talk about a decade altogether, what you can noticeably see is that the role of the CX leader a decade back was mostly responding to the complaints, to improving service levels, and it was all mostly reactive in nature. It was like you discover a problem, you solve it, you try to make sure that the problem doesn't reoccur. That was the rule. But if you look at it today, it is more about being proactive. It's about designing the entire customer journey seamlessly, at the same time being very emotionally resonant with the customer. So, in other words, I would say that CX leaders today have evolved from managing service touch points to becoming more strategic architects of end-to-end customer journeys. And if you have to now talk about a few drivers that have helped them, of course, there is digital transformation. So CX leaders now more leverage the new age digital platforms coupled with artificial intelligence, IoT, analytics to anticipate the customer needs and also personalize them. And the second part, as you rightly mentioned, is empathy with business alignment. So today, CX leaders must balance the emotional intelligence with data-driven decisions for some measurable business outcomes. And that's truly is the challenge. Yeah? So balancing the empathy with the efficiency is the true challenge. However, we see some leaders in the market who are doing it very well. Like I can quote Nike, which is doing this brilliantly using technology to personalize the customer experiences, but at all times they keep the customer's emotional experience at the center of it.
True. Great examples, and that's a powerful shift, you can say. And I love how you emphasized empathy as a key differentiator here. So,
Indeed.
as we talk about evolving roles and metrics, it's naturally brings us to the changing landscape of CX, from customer satisfaction to customer success.
Mm.
You have operated at the intersection of satisfaction and quality transformation. So, how do you differentiate these two? And what mindset shift do organize need to adopt if they want to deliver long-term customer value rather than just meet short-term expectations?
That's a great question, and one I think more companies need to ask themselves. So, the way I look at satisfaction versus success is this way. Customer satisfaction to me is like clicking a photograph. It's that particular moment that matters. The outcome is an instant gratification. It's all about, did we meet your expectations today? That's customer satisfaction. On the flip side, if you look at customer success, it's like making a movie. The movie needs to have a script, it needs to have a great opening, it needs to have a great star cast. The narrative has to be engaging, that keeps the audience longing for more and really hoping that there will be a series of sequels afterwards. So to me, customer success is about, are we helping you achieve your long-term goals instead of just the instant gratification? And then if I have to quote Schneider Electric that I work with, we actually have moved from just measuring satisfaction to co-creating value with our customers. In some parts of the world, Schneider Electric has these co-creation labs where we invite customers to participate in the product development process. Post which we also offer them services for entire life cycle to ensure that there's a long-term value for the customers. So it's all about building partnerships and loyalties, not just successful transactions. And if I have to quote somebody outside Schneider Electric, in my experience, who has done this pretty well, I would say Salesforce, which is a major player, a leader in the CRM suite platforms. They don't just sell you software; they ensure that the customers grow with that software. They make sure that you are able to utilize and apply that software to your business needs. And to answer the latter part of your question, that's really the mindset that we all need to go towards.
Yes, I totally agree with your answer. And customer satisfaction should be a whole package, not just one segment. Yes.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So now, as businesses aim for long-term success, many are turning to automation and AI for scalability and speed. But with all the tech advancements, there's a growing concern. How do we ensure that the human element of CX doesn't get lost? So, from your perspective, how can organizations maintain a human centric approach in an AI driven world?
That's $1 million question, and it is not the first time I've heard this question. Or I would say the part of my answer will be inspired from some of the answers that I've heard from the industry leaders. Uh, Artificial intelligence is powerful. Yes, it can do a lot of things. It can route your calls. It can predict your customers' next move. They can write emails on your behalf. They can create engaging content. But it is equally true that it can never replace human empathy uh, completely or absolutely. There will always be an element of a non-human entity handling a particular situation. Again, I will quote Schneider Electric. We use AI to empower our teams, not to replace them. For instance, our service agents get real-time insights that help them with more meaningful conversations. At the same time, we are careful. We are not overly relying on this technology, because if you over rely on technology, uh, the experiences can feel cold or robotic. They can be very transactionalized. So the intention is that we leverage the power of AI, but in a way that it fosters conversations and communications with the customer, not place non-human entities in front of them to handle critical situations for them. And again, from coming out of personal experience, if I have to talk about somebody who is doing it pretty well in the market, I would say American Express. I have had several interactions with them in the recent past, all good interactions. What they do is they, of course, prioritize the human connection. I'm pretty
Right.
sure that with support of AI, but not as a substitute. And they are able to find that sweet spot between human interaction and machine learning or artificial intelligence, and then serve the customers. So to me, finding that sweet spot is the key factor.
Yes. So this brings me to my next question. That from your experience, how can leaders go beyond just processes and metrics to build a culture where every employee, regardless of their function, feels ownership of the customer experience segment?
You, in fact, have given me the entire answer. So culture is the keyword in your question, and culture is everything. So you can have
Right.
the best of the tools, you can have the finest of the processes, but if your people aren't really completely integrated into this culture, they won't really make the best possible use of those tools or processes. And when they interact with your customer, it would show. It would show that the interaction is kind of synthetic. It is not at the best possible human level that is possible. So culture indeed is everything. Now, the next part is, how do we build this culture of customer experience ownership?
Yes.
So I generally pointed towards three parts. One is the customer centric behavior always starts at leadership level. So is it in the DNA of your leadership? It will automatically percolate uh, to the to the to the levels below, and it will actually become part of your culture. Second part that we see, especially in large organizations, is that uh, everybody has customer experience goals, but they do not align to each other. The delivery department has something else, the customer support has something else, the supply chain has something else, the marketing has something else. So a very critical part of building this culture of customer experience ownership is aligning the customer experience goals across departments. Make sure that they become complementary and supplementary to each other at the same time. And third part is recognition, which is extremely critical. A lot of customer experience contributions go unnoticed because they are considered as obvious.
Right.
So the more you recognize certain contributions coming from individuals or teams or groups, the more it will show and the more it will become part of the culture of the company. So that's the critical part. Again, since I've been quoting a lot of examples, something that I've read about very recently is what Ritz Carlton does. So Ritz Carlton is into hospitality. They have a chain of hotels. They
Mm.
have given their employees uh, a, a free hand to spend up to 2,000 US dollars to make the guest happy if something goes wrong. And then they have seen the results out coming out in the satisfaction surveys that come out from the customers, the reviews that they have been getting on the social media, the kind of bookings that they get, etc. So that's indeed the magic that empowerment can create once you have it in your culture.
Right, right. I would also like to add to this that when every employee is empowered to act in the customer's best interest, that's where the CX truly becomes a differentiator.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yes. So my last question to you would be that forward-looking thought, with technology advancing and customer expectations evolving constantly, CX is entering a new era. So what trends or shift do you see defining the next wave of customer experience? Are there any emerging technologies or behavior patterns CX leaders should start preparing for today?
Yeah, great question. And I truly believe that CX has been rapidly evolving, and I wish that it continues to evolve because there is lots to do still. If we talk about the future, the near future of customer experience, I believe it is going to be even more personal. It's the personal element, the personalization element of it is going to get deeper. Uh, at the same time, it's also going to be emotionally intelligent, not just artificially intelligent. And the
Right.
third part, which is very close to my heart and especially the people from my company's heart, is that the future of CX is going to be sustainability driven. So if you look at what the younger generations, as we term them as Gen Zs and Alphas, or even the upcoming Betas, what they expect the brands they interact with is that those brands should stand for something, and sustainability is actually a big motivator for them. So the more CX is
Definitely.
pointed towards sustainability is going to not just help the companies, organizations, but entire planet as such. So at Schneider in particular, we are preparing this future by aligning our CX with sustainability. We are investing in predictive services, hosting innovation days with customers. Of course, there are digital tools that we are trying to make as human as possible instead of just being smart tools. And not just Schneider, I would also quote somebody whom I'm quite fond of, IKEA, which has now started making a big presence in India. Sustainability is a big part of their experience. So anybody who has visited their store or their website, you wouldn't disagree to it absolutely. Or for that matter, Apple as well. Apple has mastered this phygital experience, physical plus
Truly,
digital.
truly. Yes.
They provide you all sorts of digital convenience with physical engagement. So to summarize my answer, like I said, it is going to be more personalized, it's going to be
Mm.
emotionally intelligent, sustainability driven, and I believe everybody's headed in that direction.
Definitely, Tushar. I agree with all of your points here. And thank you so much for such an insightful and deeply thoughtful conversation today. From strategic leadership to cultural transformation and future trends, you have covered all with incredible clarity. Thank you so much for your time today.
So it has been a pleasure being part of this conversation, and I hope uh, today inspires new ideas and meaningful actions among CX practitioners who are within my network or who are the followers of CX.net.
Definitely, it will. Thank you.
Thank you.